Hello, and welcome to the Terry interview, where I, Icarus Gray, am your host. I'm going to interview WordPlay TJ about his 9th studio album, Terry. We're going to dive deep, get a lot of not that deep. We're diving deep into the album to get some exclusive stories and just a bit of breakdown of what this creative process was like. And yeah, so come along with us on this journey. How you feeling today, my guy?
I'm feeling good, actually. I'm dressed.
To the nines, if you will.
Right.
It's a picture day.
Yeah. It's former self. First grade self. It's about the time I met you, right?
True that. You know.
Yeah. So this is a recollection or a
what?
Recollection of the old me. But I've always been sort of kind of dressy and proper up until the time where I felt like I didn't need to fit in anymore.
Well, speaking of departures, with this album, you departured into the deep memories of your life to tell a specific story of your childhood. Why did you decide to tell this story now?
It was important for me to tell these stories because over the past 15 years, I've sprinkled out some breadcrumbs in my albums, and I thought that I was giving people the information. As much as I put myself into my lyrics and am really, really honest about my life in my lyrics, I was a little bit too metaphoric in the presentation. Things were not as concrete as they could have been. So now this is the opportunity to tell those stories, connect those breadcrumbs, and say, this is what life was like as a 9-year-old, as a 19-year-old.
So in doing this album, there were 2 pivotal moments in the album for me listening. And that was the start of the album, Batman's Car, and Dedicate. You got to explain, because you went to a place with both of these songs that, how do you write that song, process what happened then, and then find a way to like therapeutically express this through music?
Depends on which one you mean.
Batman's Car first.
Batman's Car. Ultimately, that was my brother's opportunity to release some feelings and some emotions. And once he sent me that verse, I already had once he sent me the verse, because I didn't have anything prepared. Now that I'm recalling it.
See, there was going to be recollection. We told you guys.
When he sent me that verse, I didn't have anything prepared because I didn't know how to write to that track.
Okay.
And so he did his thing, and he spilled his guts. And that's what I expected from him. I needed him to say all the things that are in me and in him for both of us. So he said it, and then in Batman's Car, I can just move on to being metaphorical again.
Okay.
How I have come through darkness and made it out.
Okay.
And so I'm not really going that deep lyrically on that record, but Dedicate. You don't think so?
I think because you take metaphors in a realistic approach. You do not waste like there are a lot of people, like when you're talking about me, like I can use a metaphor that if somebody's listening, you would know the story because you know me, but you would know that they wouldn't get it. I think when you craft metaphors, it's in a way to easier illustrate, and I think that comes from your teaching ability to make it a metaphor that like gets them to where you are without having to give a long, drawn out explanation.
Yeah, I do want to get to the point a lot of times. Yeah. And that was based off of creative writing experience. So I had a professor at the Pulaski Technical College in Little Rock, Arkansas. His name is Joey Cole, who helped me be more concise with my writing. Also,
did some people call him J. Cole?
It is ironic that his name is J. Cole, and I talk about J. Cole in the first verse, my first verse anyway. And so that ties in with Batman's car and then leads into Dedicate, where Dedicate is really based off of a photograph that of me, my mom, and my dad. The way I wanted to depict how it feels to not have that family structure anymore is I wanted to basically tell the story of how they got together, how that picture came to be, and how that picture is no longer significant anymore. And I also, in the fourth verse, because this is a really long record, in the fourth verse, I wanted to talk about how I was going to dedicate my life to my marriage and my family and the people that I care about, and not repeat history, because I can look back at that picture and say, okay, I got to learn some lessons from this.